Our services include lawn spraying and fungus control services to ensure the safety of your family and pets, commercial pest and rodent control, pre-construction soil treatment, subterranean termite control, and tent fumigation. Call Glen Barrows International Pest Control at 465-2935 or 469-5294. Glen Barrows International Pest Control, setting new standards in pest control.
With news from across the Federation, spanning the region and covering the globe, this is the KyssFM SKN News Now Morning Edition, your one true source for news. And now your presenter.
Good morning. Today is Thursday, 23rd February 2017. I'm Leslie Joseph. This is the SKN News Now Morning Edition, brought to you with the kind compliments of Glen Barrows Pest Control and Guest House. These are the top stories this hour. Nationally, the Right Honorable Dr. Denzel Douglas is urging petitions and individuals to protect their political franchise. Regionally, the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago is appealing to the parliamentarians to put political differences aside and pass the FATCA legislation. Internationally, Donald Trump has revoked the Obama-era gender-neutral bathroom policy. And in sport, NBA Hall of Famer Yao Ming is the new Chinese Basketball Association chairman. Now for a look at the stories in detail. Leader of the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, the Right Honourable Dr. Denzel Douglas, has revealed disturbing developments concerning the status of the Electoral Commission. During his presentation at last evening's town hall meeting held in St. Peter's, the former Prime Minister reminded the Federation of the utmost importance of protecting one's political franchise. This, he said, was of particular concern as he has been informed that the Electoral Commission is not functioning.
And anything possible to protect that right to vote that we have achieved in 1952. My dear citizens, what then must we do to protect that right? First of all, we look at our Constitution, which speaks to protecting that right to vote. The Constitution speaks, for example, of having an electoral commission, which Marcella referred to earlier. Don't have to repeat that. The electoral commission is put in place according to the Constitution by the Governor General. 3 people. He consults with the leader of the opposition and names 1 person. He consults with the Prime Minister and he names another person. And then he consults with himself and he names the chairman of that commission. 3 people. And as you were told earlier, the function of that commission is to supervise the supervisor of elections. Therefore, as we look towards protecting our right to vote, we have to make sure that the commission is functioning. I want to emphasize tonight that I have been informed officially that the commission is not functioning. It is not functioning. And there recently was correspondence that was sent to the chairman of the commission, saying to him, with all that we are hearing, the Attorney General is saying, and all that we are hearing, the supervisor of elections saying on the radio and also in the printed media, how come we of the commission don't know anything about these things? How come there's no meeting that is being called? How come the supervisor who is supposed to report to the commission is not reporting to the commission, as Marcella told you a moment ago? It means, therefore, that the commission, as it stands, is not protecting at all our right to vote. That's why we have to look elsewhere to protect our right to vote.
Dr. Douglas shone doubt on the ability of Attorney General Vincent Juicy Byron, whose ministerial portfolio includes responsibility for the electoral system, to protect the political franchise of the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
But when we look further, we have to look at the minister responsible for the electoral system, who happens to be the Attorney General. So the commission is not functioning. And then you hear that the Attorney General is receiving reports from the supervisor of elections instead of the supervisor of elections reporting to the commission. Can we therefore look towards the Honorable Juicy Vincent Byron to protect our right to vote in this country? Can we really seriously think so?
St. Kitts and Nevis took a major step backward 2 years ago when it elected the Team Unity administration. This is the view of Dr. Terence Drew, St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party caretaker for constituency number 8. Addressing the Labour Party town hall meeting last night in St. Peter's, Dr. Drew said while he understood the appeal of Team Unity's promises to deliver better for the electorate, it is now evident the people had been duped.
This country decided to take a different path. And as I think about it, there is no need really to be angry at the electorate. The electorate has its right, and it exercises its right, and it brings to us an administration. But 2 years down the road, we recognize that we are trotting down a very dark road, a very bumpy road, a road that none of us really expected to travel in such a short time. Before the elections, we were promised that we should give up what I would put in colloquial terms, our bread and butter for bread and cheese. But very quickly, we recognize that the cheese is no cheese at all. It is plastic cheese.
Dr. Drew went on that under the Labour administration, the country had been continuously upgraded. In just 2 short years, however, he pointed out that the Federation has taken a gigantic step backward, returning to a state of affairs resembling the days of colonialism.
We have upgraded everything here in our St. Kitts and Nevis. We have upgraded even the very shoes that we wear. We used to be barefooted. We went to joggers. We went to battle speed right. We went to kick and stab. And then we went up to Nike shoes. Upgraded. Upgraded. We even upgraded the very television that we watch today. We went from no TV to black and white TV to color TV to plasma TV, flat screen TV, and now today we have smart TV. You know that? We even upgraded our means of transport. We went from walking to donkey, donkey cart, donkey with a crook. We went to bicycle. We went over to trucks. Until today, we are driving our personal cars. So if we have upgraded in all those areas, why haven't we upgraded in our governmental system? Why haven't we upgraded our governmental system? We have gone back. We came from slavery to colonialism, to statehood, to independence, and now we're going back again to colonialism. Why do I say that? I don't want anybody to think that I'm being extreme when I say that. But we have gone back to the days where a family can control our St. Kitts and Nevis. A leader and his family can control our St. Kitts and Nevis.
Regionally, ahead of today's debate on the controversial FATCA bill due to take place in Parliament, the Bankers Association of Trinidad and Tobago has issued a final warning on Wednesday to both government and the opposition to put politics aside and act in the best interest of the country. Janine Brown filed this report.
Both sides of the House meet in the Parliament to debate and decide whether or not the FATCA bill will be passed. Speaking at a final press conference ahead of Thursday's vote, BAT's President Anya Schnur pleaded with both sides, particularly the opposition, to support the bill. This, as she said, she was disappointed by the dialogue from the February 13th FATCA debate in the Parliament.
Unfortunately, what I heard was a total misrepresentation of what this bill is trying to achieve. And yet again, we are forced to come here to debunk what I guess we can now all refer to as the fake news about FATCA.
She reiterated that the FATCA bill is meant to apply to U.S. citizens only.
There are many U.S. persons who either live outside of the U.S. or remit money outside of the U.S. or earn money outside of the U.S. Those persons are already subject to U.S. tax laws. And the reason the U.S. government can impose this obligation on foreign banks is also very simple. We are the customers of U.S. banks.
But should Trinidad and Tobago not comply with the bill, the after effects would be felt by every citizen. BAT's treasurer explained that there is a plethora of services that require correspondence from U.S. banks.
Credit card transactions, remittances from abroad, U.S. dollar securities that are purchased by investment entities locally, purchases of goods for input into our local manufacturing sector. All of these requirements require flows through a U.S. dollar bank account.
She explained non-compliance would be especially challenging for the locally owned banks.
We don't have a foreign parent who is going to go to a U.S. correspondent bank and fight a fight on our behalf. We fight the fight every day with our correspondent banking relationships. The threat is even greater to us.
Referencing the popular MX Prime and Ultimate Rejects tune Full Extreme, BAT's VP warned that the extent of the danger will only be realized should the bill not be passed.
Contrary to what MX Prime asserts, if the economy falls down because of this issue, rest assured the jamming will stop.
Thursday's debate begins at 1 p.m., following which both sides will vote on the bill. By law, the bill requires a 3/5 majority to be passed.
Fight as he may and possibly even win, Barbadian political scientist Dr. George Bell says only one outcome is inevitable for Governor of the Barbados Central Bank, Dr. Delil Worrell, in the fight against his dismissal by Finance Minister Chris Snickler. Fenella Wedderburn has more.
A noted political scientist foresees only one final outcome to the bitter court battle between the central bank governor, Dr. Delil Worrell, and Finance Minister Chris Snickler. This as Worrell and his legal team, led by attorney Gregory Nichols, head to the appeals court today. Worrell is challenging his dismissal by the finance minister from the island's premier financial institution, which occurred over a week ago. However, he remained on the job after securing 2 High Court injunctions. Dr. George Bell tells Barbados Today even if Worrell were to win his case, there was simply no turning back for the embattled governor, who in the face of recent economic pressure has been fighting to protect his professional reputation.
Even if he won, if the governor then won, and the courts might say, I can't force you back on your employer. You're not going to be able to work with them. So the best thing then is to fulfill the contract in the sense that the government will have to pay you and give you whatever else is yours, and at the same time you don't go back to work. I think they did that seemingly to me in the case of the Commissioner of Police, and that is the courts. I think that is one way which it can go, that they will have to pay him out, but you'll be told, you can't go back to work, and therefore you fill the post for the time being with the acting governor. The acting governor now has to be close enough to the party or to the government's policies to say that he will cooperate with what they need, if it is printing of money or whatever else. And they have up to the time of the election.
Bail says Sinclair will not suffer the same fate, even though critics are eager to see the back of the minister.
Clearly the cabinet and the prime minister will ultimately have to fire him, right along with Chris Stickler. So you cannot put the blame on Chris Stickler now and say let's get rid of Chris Stickler. It's not Chris Stickler's fault that the policies have failed. It is the entire government's fault. It's the entire cabinet's fault. And ultimately it's the prime minister's fault. That these are the people that would have to go. And the only way that such can happen is if you go on a general election. So let the people decide now at this stage, because they never took the responsibility. The prime minister never took the responsibility of leadership to get rid of his finance minister. So he had to be saying that the finance minister was carrying out his instructions and the cabinet was in agreement with him. I mean, we operate on a collective responsibility within the Westminster system. Mm-hmm. So it's at that point you're saying now that everything has failed. It is the entire government that has failed. And therefore, the suggestion is that you have to see what is the opinion now of the electorate. Mm-hmm. So go to the polls.
On the international scene, controversial United States President Donald Trump has sparked off a new wave of protests in his latest move, the revocation of the Obama-era gender-neutral bathroom policy.
Trump, protect trans students. Shame on Trump.
Transgender and civil rights activists gathered outside the White House to make their voices heard after the Trump administration revoked guidelines Wednesday about how to accommodate transgender students in public schools with single-sex bathrooms.
Not even the government can defeat a community so full of life, color, diversity, and most importantly, love. Amen.
Last May, Barack Obama issued nationwide guidelines on what's being called the bathroom debate. The Education Department instructed schools to let transgender students use the restrooms of their chosen gender identity. For the Trump administration, such directives overreach the role of the federal government.
I've made this clear, and the president's made it clear throughout the campaign, that he's a firm believer in states' rights and that certain issues like this are not best dealt with at the federal level.
For gay, lesbian, trans activists and their supporters, civil and gender rights are a federal issue. They feel it's the government's job to protect all individuals, regardless of their gender.
We believe that this is a terrible message that the Trump administration is sending to some of the most vulnerable young people in our country today.
The Trump administration said they decided to revoke the guidelines now before the Supreme Court hears a pending case on the issue.
A bombing at a busy upscale shopping district in Pakistan has claimed at least 8 lives and injured dozens more. It is the latest in a string of terrorist attacks sweeping the country.
In Pakistan, at least 8 people have been killed and dozens more wounded in a bomb blast in the eastern city of Lahore. The powerful explosion ripped through an upscale shopping centre. The area was reported to have been busy at the time. It's the latest attack to rock Pakistan following a wave of bombings claimed by Islamist extremists. Last week, 90 people were killed at a popular shrine in the south of the country by an ISIL suicide bomber. Initial reports suggested an electricity generator had exploded, but police later confirmed it was a bomb. Thursday's attack is the second to hit Lahore in a fortnight. Earlier this month, a suicide bomber killed at least 13 people and wounded more than 80 during a protest near the provincial assembly.
And now we take a look at sport. NBA Hall of Famer Yao Ming has been elected as the chairman of the Chinese Basketball Association following the organization's 9th National Congress. Right after the election, Yao said that he would sell his shares in the CBA Shanghai Sharks before next season.
Yao, 37 years old, became the first ever non-governmental candidate to take the position at the 9th National Congress of the Association, which was founded back in 1956. The CBA charter also got revised at the Congress, making the president the association's legal representative, a task formerly performed by the Secretary General. As one of the sports icons in China, Yao was selected first overall in the 2002 NBA draft and played for the Houston Rockets for 9 years while being named to the All-Star game 8 times. He also led the Chinese national team to the last 8 at the 2004 Athens Olympics and then again in the 2008 Beijing Games. In 2009, Yao bought the Shanghai Sharks, the CBA club where he played as a teenager. And last year, Yao was elected as the vice president of the newly established CBA company, which is in charge of the league's management and business development. Since his retirement in 2011, Yao has been pursuing reforms of professional basketball in China. Right after the election, Yao spoke for the first time as chairman of the Chinese Basketball Association.
I hope to cooperate with news media and cultural organizations to promote our country's basketball industry and to establish our own basketball museum and our Hall of Fame. I also hope that people who love playing basketball will not worry about finding a court. I want children in remote areas and underdeveloped regions to enjoy a high level of basketball competition. In all, I hope that more people will play basketball and for the sport to play an important function in promoting the economy, social stability, public health, as well as creating positive energy.
And that item brings us to the end of the KyssFM SKN News Now Morning Edition, brought to you with the kind compliments of Glimbarrow's Pest Control and the Guest House. Join us again at 5:45 for our comprehensive evening news package. I am Leslie Joseph.